everyone. Welcome to How Do I Know You with your host Mark Duane and White Savior Jason. In person, he's back, everybody.
I'm not a fucking possum.
He's
not a fucking stuffed animal up Dwayne's butt.
He's a regular human up Dwayne's butt, okay?
You like it though.
But what's your excuse? You come crawling back now to us and all the fans that were missing you.
I miss you guys. I thought I could like do it all by myself and be super up there and.
I see what happens when you go solo.
I just couldn't.
You fail.
I failed.
Come back to us and we accept you with open arms.
I was like,
let me tell you, it's okay.
I can't do it by myself. I like the threesome. Yeah. I can't do it by myself.
It's those warm bodies. You need them. But if everyone out there, leave a 5-star review. Greatly appreciate it. But let's hop in. Start with this question. What's your favorite word of all time? Doesn't have to be a cuss word. Can be. Preferred. But what is your favorite word of all time? I'll start. Mine's bitch.
Why you gotta say it like short?
Huh?
Whoever listens, they'll get it. They'll be like, he didn't.
But that's my favorite word because no matter what, it always gets to you a little bit. Getting called a bitch by anyone, no matter what, even if it's playful, I think it gets to everybody just a little bit. And then an extended version would be bitch ass motherfucker because that just rolls off the tongue to me, but that's me. You guys?
What, roll off your tongue? Sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Just what's the instinct? Instinct, what's it telling you?
Fuck. Because from the time I was like 10 years old, like every other word out of my mouth was fuck, or my friends, and my mom would always yell at us like, why the fuck are you guys talking this way? I'm like, what the fuck did you just say? You just said fuck. So it was just always a word we always would say.
Like, off the top of my head, nigga. Because I can say it. And a lot of people can. Yeah, so the only one's coming to my head right now is nigga. Nigga.
Everyone out there, say it with us.
Say it in the cover of your own home. It's all right.
You guys cut it. You cut it, and all of a sudden I'm gone. It's like, whoa, welcome back.
We did say he could say it, but the way he said it,
we didn't like how he said it.
It's funny that that's like such a thing where, especially for black people, when they like excited, everyone just goes nigga. Like what is the first thing that pops into our head? Not like nope, it's just nigga. Nigga can mean anything. Nigga can mean good, bad, indifferent. Nigga can mean confused.
When he said that, it made me think of. Have you seen the movie Donnie Brasco?
Yeah.
And how he's like, forget about it. You can mean it for this way. He's just like same thing. Like, no, hey, forget about it.
Nigga works for so many different things, but.
Try it. Everyone out there.
I do it all the time. Like, all the time. I don't. I
just want people to like, just stay in there.
No, I don't.
Ask
Dwayne. I don't. He's even told me to say it, and I'm like, no.
Like, let it fly, man.
Let it fly.
My hand's twitching.
He's like,
slowly.
He's like, I just want to smack the shit out of him.
All right. What's a badass and unique thing for a main character to replace his arm with? Could be any kind of character. It could be yourself. What like if you had to, like, no matter what, your arm is getting chopped off and you could replace it with any object, what are you gonna do it with? What's a badass thing? To be like the classic Ash, go with the chainsaw.
See, I was thinking everyone will probably be like, oh, chainsaw.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
do shotgun. I think shotgun would be cool. Just I don't know how you would load it. Right? Like, no, I'm saying, like, is it
how would you load the shotgun?
Yeah, because it's like it's attached to your arm, right? Yeah. And then also, are you using shotgun shells or like some special thing where it's like using your blood as bullets and shit? Or
this got super nerdy.
Hey,
on there.
You can get as nerdy as we want, okay? Questions.
I'm trying to think.
Gotta cut out all this dead air.
Power glove.
Power glove.
Power glove. It's a hand. You got a remote control on that shit.
I mean,
I don't really need a shotgun on my hand.
No, it's awesome. Badass. It's
if you want some badass,
like something cool, something not practical, something like don't think of
something
like
that's not gonna. It's just something that's badass.
Okay, so you guys remember that game, fucking Portal?
Yeah. Oh,
portal gun?
I want that shit on my arm so I can just make portals and walls and I can just,
I think what I would want would be like kind of like a grappling hook, shooting grappling hook, so I could just swing through
Fucking
shit like Spider-Man.
007
Swing through
Agent Under
Dwayne's
Fire.
portals.
Yeah, but in the book.
Were we one of the only people that figured that out in 007?
What?
Fucking this is after GoldenEye people who think about all the James Bond games, but there was a PS2 game. I don't know if it came out on any other consoles. It was called Agent Under Fire, and it was just like GoldenEye, but it was obviously more upgraded. And one of the things they had was this hook claw that you could run around and you could basically hook to almost anything. And you could fly around a hook and then like shoot at the same time. So I remember we played one time and we were just doing that shit. We were just hooking around and then like shooting each other and shit. And I'm like, I think about those. I'm like, well, I wonder who else figured that out.
Yeah, that's before like online was really a thing.
It wasn't a thing because it was still. Well, I don't know if it was.
No, it was. They had Ethernet ports back then.
Right.
It was like so rare and
yeah.
like no one was really on it like how they are now.
Do you remember your first multiplayer game that you played online?
Online? It was probably a Call of Duty thing.
SOCOM. Before Call of Duty.
Oh, yeah?
SOCOM.
That was my uncle.
PS2, a bunch of guys I worked with, we bought the little adapter for the Ethernet in the back, and we would play, and all of us from work, so we knew, we were like, hey, you going on, get on? So it'd be like 8 of us, and we'd just go wreck havoc, because we would be at work, like when we're supposed to be working, like, hey, if you're doing this, and you're doing this, and so we were playing it at work, and but yeah.
I always wanted to find like
nerdy friends like that.
Well, I have these guys, but but it was different because fucking like the game that we finally did that on was recent and it's Overwatch, but it's like a fucking it's a shooter / like magic and shit.
Yeah.
So it's like
Right.
not, but
We also don't have the time to like strategize
right,
like that.
like
Yeah.
but fucking Call of Duty. Like it was, I think it was Call of Duty Frontline. I want to. No, it was Medal of Honor. It was Medal of Honor, whatever the fuck that was. It was on the original Xbox. That was the first online game I played, and that shit was like World War II. So I was just like, this is awesome. This is when Capture the Flag was the most important game back then. It wasn't Team Deathmatch. It wasn't all this other shit. It was Capture the Flag. I miss those days. Everyone was more friendly too.
You know.
It wasn't a lot of shit talking. Everyone was just like, man, go left, no.
You messed up.
Damn
Before
it,
they
it's
start
alright.
calling you, you'd hear them. You know when a kid wasn't allowed to hear. You'd be like, "You didn't go right, you." Gaylord. And you're like, "What did you say?" And they'd always call you like a Gaylord or something. You're like, what?
The N word wasn't even that prevalent back then
Yeah.
online. Now it's just like you go into any fucking any room, just nigga. It was like, whoa, how did they know?
Where do you think that started? Because we used to play games with our friends in the same room, and we didn't talk to each other that way. So
No.
what was it about being online all of a sudden? Like, I'm gonna start talking this way. Like, was it just?
It's that badge of courage where you know that
Yeah.
other person's not around or can't do anything.
I was gonna say that same thing because you start talking to more people, especially when you realize that you play with people overseas, and you start hearing accents and shit, and then people just their biases started to come out. And
I guess I don't get that in my brain. Like, oh, I want to be tough because I know this person can't do
Yeah.
nothing.
no, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't. That whatever that swishes and flip inside. So
Yeah.
That's why anytime I would play those games, like when I was younger, anytime I got into a room where everyone was like actually working together, it was the greatest.
Oh yeah.
But anytime people would come in trolling, it always sucks because like it's the same concept as the class clown kid in school. Usually like the class clown kid always probably starts off like that second week of school, right? They never start off the first week. But the second week they start to establish that I'm a dickhead and I'm gonna start saying all this shit, right? Then it's always like it takes one kid to follow them. Then slowly but surely everyone starts to turn. That's the same thing in these like rooms. Like you get in one room and then like they'll come in like, oh look these faggots. No one says anything. Takes one kid to chuckle.
Right.
And now everyone
And then
starts.
they know they have an audience.
Yeah, and now everyone starts going in. I was just like, damn it, man, because we were just trying to play the game. Now everyone's saying all this dumb shit that is not that funny and.
Right, it's just words.
Right.
And no setup, no nothing, just whatever. It's so nice though, like working online together as a group. Because we recently me, Dwayne, Johnny, and this guy from Finland,
Yeah.
I think, named JT. We were all playing the game together, and it was working for the most part. But
Right.
then we ended up like getting paired on a team with this kid that was just being a troll, and we fucking kept losing matches with the dude.
Yeah.
See, I have a group of people. So we played SOCOM, and then PlayStation 3 came out. So that's when we started really playing Call of Duty and all
Right.
that. So we were playing it, and then all my friends I used to play with started slipping off. They had different jobs or moved different states. So I started playing with like my brother and like one or two other people we met, and then now we still play together whenever we go on. Like this same group of people, like 8-9 years, we're like, hey, look at so and so's on, and we work together, and it's funny because we had this one kid that's one of our friends now, and I remember he logged on and he just happened to get in our room. We're like, listen to us, you'll win, and all this, and this dude was like, okay, because anytime we would tell people that, like, oh, you think you guys are good? No, we're good when we work together. Just trust us. And then they'd always watch me because I'd go stand and spin in a circle like, what the fuck? I'm like, I'm not that great. But no, everyone will come try to shoot me, and I'm good at moving around. And they're like, what? And so we had this kid, and finally, like, he started playing, and now he's always playing with us. And it's just crazy because it's like, when you're talking about, like, you find that group of people, and it's like, you guys got a guy from Finland. We had one from Canada, one from Minnesota, and, like, anytime any shit pops off, I'm like, yo, you good over there? Like, are you good?
Right.
So we had the one from Minnesota, one from Canada, 2 from out here, I think 3 from out here, and then some other dude from Mexico. And we're just like, what the fuck is this random group of people?
It was, man. It was always fucking Gears of War when that game came out. I got good at that game because I played it a lot, but then there was a kid that I met who fucking, I think he was in, he had to be like in like, he was in like one of the Midwest states or whatever. Fucking, he was a monster in that game. And one night, fucking, I was playing and we were playing together, and he was just like, yo, he was like, you have to start sniping like this. And we kind of like went through like a couple of matches, and I got that shit down. And I was just like, how do you know all this shit? He was just like, I play this game a lot, man. Like it's not that difficult.
I have no life.
Yeah, but no part of my mind went there. It was just like, oh, he's being helpful because we're playing so much, and we're all on these same teams. Like I knew his friend that he would always play with and shit, and it was just cool. But now it's so weird because now you don't have that. Like now, I feel like everyone has like has a Twitch stream or whatever, and they're trying to get like their moments shown, but there's no more like
teamwork.
Yeah,
the team moments.
Right.
Oh shit.
But yeah, moral of the story is
be a team player.
I think that's people's problem today. That people are a lot more defensive. They think everything's like an attack. When someone's trying to help out, it's like, oh no, he just thinks I suck, so I'm gonna talk shit and blah blah blah. But
yeah.
One day. They're gonna, well, they already started doing it, but they're gonna make more like just straight multiplayer games, and then they're gonna have to force people to link up, because Overwatch is one of those games that you're forced to link up. Like,
yeah, there's a lot of games that are just online only now.
Yeah.
But man, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, man?
The days of video gaming.
It's getting better, but getting.
Well, I was talking to a bunch of my young employees, and they're all talking about like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play video games all weekend, and then they're like talking about, what was your first system? And then I'm like, what? They're like, what's your first one? Like Atari? I'm like, Atari, motherfuckers. Like, I'm old school. I'm like, you need to respect me and represent what I'm speaking. Okay.
But I suck. Anyone out there who plays Hot Shots golf, if you want to get a tournament going,
you need to get that arcade or just like a big old emulator, fucking cabinet. Just make it yourself.
I want that tournament to go.
That's what we're gonna do. Once this thing is huge, we're gonna for some reason host the Hot Shot golf tournaments.
All the games that are annoying.
Yeah.
Like, because that so with me and one of our friends, he had a Nintendo Wii, and like on the weekends, like once we were done with school, we would come over. And they would have like these fucking Bomberman like competitions, right? And it seems like it's so like, oh, it's just Bomberman. These games got so intense.
I used to be so obnoxious because I knew you liked the game a lot, and then sometimes I would win, and I would just like throw it in your face. I'd rub it in your face so much, and I could tell you were being annoyed because you were getting quiet as fuck.
Because I was just like, fuck, man. And the thing about like Bomberman is one of those games where it's like, there's a lot of skill involved, but also it's really like it's a lot of luck. Like, it's a lot of like just random shit happens and whatever, right? So like he would win, Jay would win, freaking Jeremy would win, and then like what?
No, then I would win again. It's just like Dwayne never won it. So
no, but the way it worked is you have to win. I think it was like 5 times in a row to win the entire game. So like anytime I start going on a run, I'd be like, oh, I'm winning. And then I'd be like up 3-0, and I'm like, all right, 2 more, we got this. And I'd fucking lose every time. I never won, all right, and I was pissed off about it. But this right there, I remember, I think we would just play with like his whole family, and there was so much like jokes and laughter and happiness, and I'm like, this can never be recreated today. It can't. It can't at all, because everyone's mindset is totally different now. When kids play games, they're all trying to do dumb shit and everything.
The only thing closest to that setting that could still happen is D&D, because in D&D you have to be like around other people, or through Zoom with people and shit like that, and with that it's just like you're just making up as you go along, whatever and shit like that. So stuff happens, but. Yeah, the days of, hey, come over, play this video game at my house. It's like, why? I just played at my house and we'll play online together.
Right, and then just thinking about that, like, the advancement of technology, like, that is a bad thing, because my other friend, this is when Halo 2 was, like, super popular. This is the only time I've ever seen this shit. So I never saw System Link, because as soon as, like you could start, you either bought the adapter or you started buying the console that had the fucking Ethernet port, you weren't going to do System Link. That was stupid. But these motherfuckers had like 4 different Xboxes in 2 different houses. And literally we came to his house one day and we played, and it was like, I want to say like 16 people in 2 different houses. It was like 4 people in the bedroom, 4 people in another room, 4 people in a garage with a TV, 4 people in another house, right? And it was like, and I was just like, what the fuck? We can all play online. And they were like, nah, this is funner. And it was. Like, and I was just like, I still think about that day, because that's the first time I saw someone actually get teabagged in front of me, like legit nuts on face. And I was like, this is gay, but also, I mean,
arousing.
He deserved it, so I mean, cool. But like all these things happen, I was just like, wow, this shit can never happen anymore. Like even round 1, like you don't see it that much. Like those like Dave and Buster's round 1, those places were used to be for like, oh, you can like
arcade places.
Meet someone different and then kind of play with them, become friends. Now it's just like, nope, I'm taking my friends. We're gonna play this one game. Fuck everyone else in this shit, and it's just...
what's fun? When we went to that barcade in Santa Fe, right? Santa Ana. That happened to me, actually. Like, I was... Because we all split up.
Right.
Like, we didn't hang out. We just all split up for whatever. We all go together.
Right.
And split up. Play our own games. I was playing like a Marvel's Capcom thing, one of them, and some random person challenged me, and I started talking shit. Like, they had their friends, and, like, his friends was, like, egging him on. And I was just staying quiet because I was just like, I don't know them that well, but like I would beat the fuck out of them, and I'd be like, yeah,
bitch.
I get high voices, so seem non-threatening.
For real, man. Like, and then so many younger kids don't even know barcades exist.
Yeah.
So they only have that thought of like, oh no, we all play games online. It's like, nah, man. There's actually places that sell alcohol, and they have whores.
Yeah.
And video games.
Yeah. I still do the classic thing. I think I was playing a Centipede, and I got like some high score, and I just put like the 3 letters ass.
Yeah.
And I had to like go get Dwayne. I was like, look what I did. I was like, we were like 26 or something.
Fucking, that was the same night I found that top shots golf shit, and I was like,
the top.
I was fucking trying to get to the top of that shit, and like it was people like walking by watching me like, this motherfucker's still on this shit. Yep. I'm just like, going for it, fuck it, I'm in the zone now.
I would just do my laps and then come back. You're still playing it.
I was like, this token's gonna ride.
There was this fucking horse game at Dave and Buster's in at the Block in Orange, whatever it's called now. And that shit, like, I would spend like $50, hands down, and all you're doing is tapping a button. Yeah. And I would just be there, oh my god, fucking horse racing. Oh shit, there's another beer, horse racing.
I'm a jockey.
Yeah, and I'd just sit there, and everyone would be like, are you done? No, I spent $75. I'm giving blood now.
That same night that he was playing, there was a dude before who was hogging that Marvel's Capcom. He did the same shit, and it was so weird because you could tell he was like really good at the shit, but he sat there and then didn't get up and was just like beating the shit out of people, but wasn't interacting, which was the weird shit. And I was just like, this is so weird. Like, you're at this type of place, like at least talk to people. He was just sitting there.
Yeah, those kind of people, I feel like in their head they're thinking, they think I'm so cool because I'm winning so much, even though I have to act all high and mighty. It's just like, no, it's not fun that way, man. Just gotta play around and act like a fool because you lost. I think that doesn't matter. Fucking kind of shit.
Please, if anyone out there hasn't been to like a barcade type place, or go to your local Dave and Buster's if you can. I don't know about COVID shit, but Dave and Buster's round 1, please. Really go to those places and play those games and like just fucking fuck around. Like those shits are fun, and that shit always builds.
I wish there was more of that though. Barcades, they're fun, man. They're just cool place to go, and they could bring back like the retro shit. They could probably integrate the new.
Well,
stuff.
I always saw it like how Nickel. I don't know. You guys know what Nickel.
I've heard about it, but I heard it's like shitty now, right, or something.
Well, I don't know, but when it like I remember my nephew was like 7 years old. He's like, "Take me to Nickel." I'm like, "What the fuck is this Nickel place?" He's like, "We go play video games for a nickel." I'm like, "Yeah, how shitty is this place going to be?" Because I'm old school arcade. Like Marvel vs. Capcom, I'm too old. Like you get me Street Fighter Alpha. That was mine. Like the Street Fighter 2 Alpha with just the 4 extra, like the Mike Tyson looked like, the dude with the claws, those 4.
Okay.
So that's my generation. So I end up, we go to Nickel, and it's $2 to get in or whatever. I'm like, I have to pay to get in. He's like, everything's a nickel. Motherfucker doesn't tell me, like, yeah, everything's about like 25 cents, 5 nickels or whatever. But he didn't say there's a back area that's all free games, all the shit I played. So I'm like, here's fucking all the money I brought. I'm just going to sit back here and playing like Smash TV, Golden Axe. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And my nephew's like, it's time to go. I'm like, fuck you. Fuck you. We're not eating. We're fucking playing games now.
Get intense.
I was.
There's this new thing though that I do want to try with you guys. Whoever wants to go.
I was like,
so first we get in these suits. Right? No, they have like these. It's a VR game.
Oh,
Have you seen those?
yeah.
So you get like the VR headset. You get like the I don't know, like
the vest
armor.
protector.
Yeah, the vest thing. I can't even fucking think of the word. And then you get like guns, and you go around, and they have like these things that are built like mazes, I think. And it represents what's in the game. So you're going around shit, and you're just killing.
Back in my day, it was laser tag.
Yeah, but this is way
I've
better.
done that 4 years ago. I've done that. That shit is hard.
It's fun. It's fucking fun.
I'll smack the shit out of little kids.
That's what I
I
Pistol whipping public kids.
You listen to me. We're fucking gonna get these
Pick up little kids, use them as shields.
Mom, pleasure serving you, sir. Take my gun. It's attached to him. You're just dragging his fucking dead body. Oh, laser tag. Bloody game. Fun for kids. But alright.
Alright, so there's a question I have for you guys, and it stems from something else, but I'm just throw it out as a generic question. When it comes to people leaving a corporation or a company, do they have a right to talk bad about the company if the company made them successful?
Did it just, were they already successful before this, or this started their stardom?
I would say it started their stardom, and it got them to where they are today.
Yeah. I would say, yeah, everyone has a right to talk shit about company that let them go.
Yeah.
Got fired.
Well, no.
They just quit.
They quit.
They quit?
Yeah.
For better opportunities?
Yes. Well, they quit at the time because they were disgruntled, but and then years went by, and then they're at a new place because it's better for them and XYZ.
Then yeah, I still say yeah. If you're disgruntled, like you don't quit a job because things are going well.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That or you get like a better offer, and if you're getting a better offer, there's no reason to talk shit. So something must have been going on for this person, whoever, to be like, nah, I gotta talk shit because they fucked up a good thing that I had there.
Right.
Making millions and all this. It was fun, and then new thing gets taken over. People in charge start to change shit.
Right.
All of a sudden it's not fun. All of a sudden I can't do what I got popular on here for. So yeah, fuck it, talk shit.
No, I totally agree. Because if you're leaving, you're leaving for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
If everything was good, then why aren't you staying? So yeah, you have the right, but I feel like if you're going to, make sure you're not doing it to the people that that still work there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because then you're just gonna bring them down when they're like, "Fuck, man, I can't get the fuck out of here." Like when I left Walgreens, I didn't talk shit like, "Hey, everybody, look at fucking me."
Right.
I did later on when they're like, "Oh, how does it suck?" "Oh, well, I'm making a shitload of money," and then
He was.
and then it's shit a little bit after that. They're like, "How's it? It sucks. I want to come back. I love you guys." But,
I mean, so the situation is wrestling, and it's a wrestler who just recently came back, CM Punk. And he left the WWE 7 years ago, but he left on top. And he's one of the only wrestlers to ever do that. But I think it's a good metaphor just for people in general when it comes to life, because He came back. He's with a new company, and the company's just starting. But he's talking about how so happy he is for that company, and how this company is really doing professional wrestling right, and blah blah blah. But in the process of coming back, he's talking about how bad the WWE is, and he's like all these things and everything. But a lot of people are saying like they understand his frustration, but how can you call something bad that you stayed for X amount of years? You made a shitload of money, and they made it possible for you that you really don't have to work. He's doing this right now just because of, one, he got paid a lot to do it, but two, also it's like it's his passion.
Right.
But
right.
People are saying like you shit on them, but they paid you so much money that you don't even have to work. So is it a fair trade, or do you have a right to really be that angry?
Yeah, I mean, there's like that fine line of I'm gonna keep talking shit about this old company to where it becomes annoying,
right?
You know, and that's where you got to be like, you make a joke every once in a while, maybe in the beginning, like when you're first starting out this promo, but like slowly let it go. Like, okay, we got the joke. Like that place was shitty. You're happy to be here now, and that's why you're talking shit about them.
Right?
Fucking let it go. And that whole thought process of they made you millions and blah blah blah. It's just like, yeah, but
they how many millions did I make?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, exactly that. And then also like, yeah, but they took something that like the dream job, right? Everyone wants to be in the WWE if you're in the wrestling. That's the one to go to,
right?
And imagine going there, finally getting there, and then all these fuckers in charge twist and warp your character around, your gimmick, your whatever, controlling what you could do, and make it not fun anymore. Mm-hmm. So basically killing your passion.
Right.
Of course you're going to blame the company, and you don't like that. You don't want to blame specific people because that's not going to do nothing. Blame the company, and yeah, you have a right to. Just like, I get it because people have never probably been in that position, so they'd be like, no, I'd be grateful no matter what if someone made me millions of dollars.
Right.
It's just like, yeah, it's good in theory, but when you're actually experiencing it, you're not going to be that cool.
When you're mad, you're mad.
Well, you also got to remember when he was in it, like there was all those little offshoots, but nothing big. Mm-hmm. So he's talking about something that's brand new as well. When they're at this level and they're this many years into the game, are they still going to be the place to be at?
Right.
That's the thing. He's got a new company. Every new company is always going to be the shit until it gets, after a while, then it's like, okay, it's new. Now, we know what we expect of this, and now we know what we can get from you guys. So, obviously, with wrestling, you have the WWE, after they bought WCW, kind of like had a monopoly on it. Mm-hmm. And if you wanted to do anything, you had to do your time working your way through the WWE and all that, and then once you became the superstars, you're making the money. But one thing, like you said, and Mark was saying, that after you've done this so many times, then like you kind of not. But how? And he's made millions from this company.
Right.
But how many millions did this company take from him? And how much time and effort? Because these wrestlers are on the road like 300 days a year. Mm-hmm. So you figure, yeah, I may have made those millions of bucks, but I also sacrificed birthday parties for families, births of kids, or whatever. So at that point, in wrestling, I think you're fair game once you walk out that door.
So you touched on, how much time that he lost in this period, right? So I'm trying to make this not wrestling related. I'm trying to make this go into worldwide. But when it comes to that, when you work a job or you have a passion or whatever, for the people who are willing to sacrifice that, once again, do they have the right to complain if it doesn't go well? You know what I mean? Because if there's people who, we do a baseball podcast. There's people who dedicate their whole life to baseball. If you end up fucking high school, college, minors, and then you come up and then you fail, do you have a right to have can you be sour on baseball? Even though you did everything that you were supposed to do, it's just that once you got there, like
your talents didn't propel you.
Right. It just didn't carry over to the majors. Like, do you have a right to be?
Well, personally, you have a right to always be upset at anything, but in general, like, what would a minor leaguer be able to shit on? You weren't good enough. You may have thought you were good in theory. You may have thought you were good in maybe that little town you lived in, or even that big town you lived in. But when it came to it, you figure, and that's the one thing with baseball. How many baseball players are out? They get drafted every year, mm-hmm. but how many of them actually make it?
Very few.
So you figure each team's 26 players,
right?
And how many of these 26 players, you see change. You see maybe like the Dodgers, you may see like 5 of their 26 change, but out of those 5 that are changing, maybe 2 are getting their first shot. Mm-hmm. Now, out of those 2 that are getting their first shot, how long have they been grinding, and how many of those other are their friends are they leaving back that's been grinding even longer that haven't made it? Right. So I feel everything has. You always have to go back to where you started. So with CM Punk, if we're talking about him, and he started probably in some backyard wrestling thing, worked his way up, minor league here. Just like with us, I tell everyone, like, I didn't start off where I've started in my position. I've worked my way up, and if I had to jump company to company, I worked my way up in each of those companies to get where I'm at. So if you put that hard work, and I feel like at the end of the day, if you're done with that company, you should be able to bitch all you want because you put that work in. But like Mark was saying, after a while, it's just no one wants to hear it no more because you may have people that still work there and that you hang out with and all that.
It's the like, you broke up with her, stop talking about her. Like, you obviously want her back. That's why you're talking about her, shit like that. So I would put it this way. You have the right to talk shit, but you're not entitled for people to be on your side about it.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, you can talk all the shit you want, just don't get mad when someone's like, I think you're overreacting.
Right.
Kind of things. Like, all right, it's cool, you know?
I don't know I don't know if it's a real thing, but do you guys believe in like the starving artist like persona, where it's like I guess the best way I can put it is music, but it's always the person who tries to play the underdog, even though their like career and talents have them way above what that would be. Like, is that something that, do you think people downplay their talents to always be in that position?
The underdog, the humbleness, all that shit. I think they do, and especially now because people love that shit and they know they love it, so I'm going to pretend to be humble. I fucking hate pretending to be humble. Because I make it into a joke now, but it's a lot more fun to me than being humble. Like, when somebody comments on, like, you guys are so funny, I'm just like, yeah, we know. It's just like, it gets a joke, but it's just like, forget the humbleness. Like, yeah, I'll write back like, oh, thanks, appreciate all that stuff, and we do, but that gets boring to me. So it's just like, I might as well like joke around with these guys that interact with us. So yeah, I think they do that shit because it's a nice story. Everyone wants to be the underdog. Everyone wants to be like, oh, they counted me out and I fucking did it
worked my way up blah, blah, and look at where I'm at.
It's just like, no, fuck that. Because we used to make fun of that shit. It's just like every movie is like the underdog versus the people that were just like, but these people worked hard at what they did and like they got to too. Why are people shitting on them?
That was always because I told you I grew up hating the Yankees because as a kid they were always fucking winning, and
trust me, I hate the Yankees.
Oh yeah, because you had to deal with the '70s and the '80s Yankees.
'80s Yankees, come
whatever.
On, '70s,
and the '60s and the '50s, and every time
how was Babe Ruth when you saw him last? Where was Babe Ruth?
Bro, you were there.
I like that. Every time we talk about White Savior Jason, just get older and older.
I know.
And then he's actually Jesus.
It's like come with the beard on.
Yeah, threw people off. I changed to a different J name.
But as a kid, because I was just like, they're always winning. What the fuck? Like, it's not fair. Like, I'm a Dodger fan. There's other teams here. What the hell? And then like you grow up.
Was like the worst time to be a Dodger fan.
But you grow up and then you're like, man. You start to realize, like, this team every year, Steinbrenner spent so much damn money. They always have the best players. And then those players have to perform. And they did. So you respect them for it, right? But then now it's like the Dodgers are getting the same thing. I think the Dodgers were voted the #1 most hated team in the world by like an NBC poll. And I was like, who the fuck? I'm like, how? I'm like,
Wayne's going to track down each one of you that voted for that.
But it was just funny because I was like, I lived long enough to see this shit. Because we were always a joke in the 90s. Like, we were a fucking joke. Like, and everyone just said, oh, only Mexicans like the Dodgers. No one cares about that team. And then now, fast forward, everyone's like, if you're a Dodger fan, I hate you. Your team spends all the money in the world. They have all the talent. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. But then that goes back to, like I said, that starving artist thing. Because it's so funny. People want to get behind people who are millionaires. Like we just, the whole Drake and Kanye thing, if you're keeping up with it. There was a whole thing behind two people. One person's a billionaire, and another person's been like at the top of music for like 10 years now, and we're supposed to rally around who's gonna win this feud that honestly, who cares? Like, they're both well off, they're both fine, nothing's gonna happen, but like, we're like paying so much attention to all this shit, like, oh, Kanye said this and Drake did this and blah blah blah, right? And it's like, at the end of the day, I'm just like, these niggas probably do not think about this as much as we do, you know what I mean? And it just goes back to bring it back to CM Punk. Seeing everything with this shit, I'm like, they're making his new company like, oh, they're for the people, they're for wrestling, and I'm just like, it's funny because the guy who owns that company has more money than Vince McMahon, is also a hard-nosed Republican. His dad owns the Jaguars, right? So they're like, all their money is tied into oil and all this other shit. So literally, everything that you would hate about him, you should hate about him. But because they're playing the starving artist, no one sees it that way. I just find it funny because I'm like, what I feel like is going to happen is eventually shit's going to shift, like you said, and then people are going to be like, fuck these guys, they do this and that.
And that's what we said, I think it was like 3 episodes ago. There's cycles and everything.
Right.
Sports, the Dodgers sucked through the 90s. 2000s, they started doing good. Then 2010s.
Right.
And it's just cycling everything. And just like with the world, I've seen it so many times, these cycles. Like the fall of Rome when I was there, I was like, what the fuck? Old. No, it's just like, it's just the cycles of it. And this is one of those cycles that's, you're going to hate this company, wait until it gets big, and wait until they are the top shit, and then tell us, then CM Punk, what you feel about him.
Right.
Yeah. It goes back to that saying from Batman, the whole you either die the good guy or you live long enough to become the villain.
Yeah.
That kind of shit. And people love to hate. It's easier to hate. You know, you're going to have a lot more haters.
There's more money in hate.
Yeah.
But another reason why I wanted to bring that up is because I was thinking about my job. And I was like, man, I shit on my job a lot. But my job has afforded me to be able to live where I live and do what I do and shit. But my job is still shitty. And I know why it's shitty. And I'm like...
Well, with that too, and when that kind of concept right there, it's because you know that this job could be way better.
Right.
If it was just functioning properly.
Right.
You're like, fuck, I wouldn't have to deal with all these headaches, and I could probably work better, and all this shit. So there's a difference between, like, complaining about a job like that, and then just complaining and then literally contributing to the problems that you're complaining about. Which is what most people do. They're like, oh, I can't believe this shit. And then they just end up doing the same shit that they cry about other people do.
And it's just thinking about it, because you were talking earlier about, like, again, the time. Would you, because you said it before, either off camera or even on camera. You're a boss in your line of work, and there's a lot of times where you recently just went through a week of you were working a shitload, and you've talked about it before. I believe it was during the walk. No, it was probably another job. But you talked about how you had to, like, you didn't see your kids for like a while, like you were barely home and shit like that. When it's all said and done,
I took a pay cut to go where I'm at now. Right,
but I'm like, so when it's all said and done, would all that time be worth it if your kids were able to have the life that you didn't have growing up? Or would you be like,
no. So
it shit about that.
It is so that they can have the stuff that I didn't have. But the problem was this job wasn't giving me the stuff I didn't have growing up. It was giving me the stuff I don't have now.
Right.
So I went, you got to remember, it was like 20 G's. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like, oh, you got a $5,000. I got like a $20,000 raise. Like,
right.
My paycheck was like doubled, and I was like, what the shit? But it sucked because I was working 14, 15-hour days. I wouldn't see my kids because I'd leave at 3 o'clock in the morning. By the time I get home, because I had to drive, not just like 15 hours at work and the 2-hour commute.
Right.
I wouldn't see my kids. So after they're all having fun and spending the money, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what am I getting out of this? It's not filling my cup.
Right.
And that's what I always tell people. Like, if you're doing something, it should fill your cup as much as it fills that. Regardless if it's a job, and we're all in our line of work, even though it's retail. No one likes retail, right. But it's my line of work because how far I'm at. There's no way of going back now. So that fills my cup. And when I was doing this job, I after so long, it was just like, you know what, it never bothered me at first, like, oh, I'll see my kids, but then it bothered me because it was like, I'm not going to see my kids. I went from having weekends off to now I have to work weekends again, and I did it for the money, and that's the last time I said I'd do anything for money, like make that decision for money. Well, you got 20 large. No, but at that point, I told my wife, I'm like, it's gonna hurt because we got used to this lifestyle, but I don't. It's not good for me because I'm not seeing my kids. I'm not spending time with you. I can tell you what's going to be in the long run. I'm going to be like every other person that's been at this job and getting divorced, and then the money won't be there. So let me go find something that's going to make me happy and where I'm not going to be upset, and that's why I left. And people find it funny. They're like, you took a job for less money, and I was like, yeah, but I'm happier. And that's the thing. Money's not the root of everything. It helps things. It makes things a lot easier. I made sure I wasn't going to put myself where I wasn't going to be able to provide for my kids or be how I grew up. But at that point, I made the decision to take less money to have those luxuries.
Well, this is a way better fucking conversation. Do you both think it can be balanced? Do you think fucking personal happiness and then the grind to get to wherever the hell you want to get to, can that shit be balanced, or is it one or the other? Because so many people out there say, like, if you go on Instagram or whatever, they'll say, like, oh, you have to be selfish with your dreams. You have to be just focused on this and this only. You have to forget about relationships and all this other shit. And then there's people that say, like, oh, no, I put stock in the personal happiness, and it got me to where I fucking ended up now. So
you always have to look at it as you have to take care of you first. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, it will catch up and will burn you out, and you're no good anymore. I do get where people are saying, like, well, you have to be selfish and all this, but you also got to remember with me, my goals have changed. My goals wasn't the same goals when I first started working. My goals changed because as you progress in life, you should progress in your goals. Not always sit there and say, I'm going to make $1 million. Okay, my next goal is I want to make $1 million and have something else. And not limit yourself, and that's the problem. When you set a goal or you set your standards, you're limiting yourself, and you're just you're pretty much putting your ankle monitor on, saying, "Hey, this is what I can handle. This is the best I can do right now. This is it." But if you're putting that personal happiness into it, and you are actually succeeding in a job that you like, or even if you don't like it, but you figure out how to make it work for you, and you are walking out punched out, not stressed out. You may hate the job. You don't have to love the job, but if you hate the job, but you can tolerate it, and still have a beautiful home life outside of there, then I don't think limiting yourself to a certain, you can't have dreams, you can only do this, then you're just limiting yourself, and you're not hitting your peak in anything.
I think if you balance it out, it's possible. Super hard to do another extra layer of like discipline to that. But if you do balance it out, I think you're never gonna achieve like greatness. For whatever field that is, it's never gonna be great. It's always gonna be like average. At least on the work side. Home thing, it's a lot more variable, so you can't really speak for that. But man, I think you just gotta choose, you gotta choose. There is no, like, the balancing thing, I think, would stress you out, like, way too much to, like, maintain that. Because everything, like, true balance, you could achieve it for a little bit, but to maintain it, fucking difficult as fuck. And, I don't know, I think about people like The Rock and Kevin Hart. They're fucking moguls, right? They're always doing something. They're always fucking working, put little things here and there and there. And their family's set, and all that shit. And what's kind of better, like, yeah, I get the spending time with them and everything, but like providing for them, like that thought of like, oh, they never have to worry about like this kind of shit again. They could live their dreams without this extra stress that I had to go through, and because of that, maybe they could achieve a better balance than me.
But wouldn't you say like Kevin Hart or them, they actually were doing something they liked though? Because obviously he got into comedy probably from a young age, from hearing from
Yeah, because even that's the thing. Even when it's something you like, it could still take up all your time, and then like your home life is shit. And I don't know how their home life is. I don't know like how much time they actually have off, but seeing as much as they work and as many projects as they're working at one time doesn't seem like a lot of time for home.
I think also it does vary on like the partners and the people you choose to fucking build families with, because at the end of it all, like, I feel like this is Kevin Hart's second marriage. So she came into the picture. He was already Kevin Hart. The first wife knew him as just Kevin, right? And then those problems arose, and then his situation turned into a divorce, right? This one knows him as, this is the guy that, and I think his wife now is his assistant anyway, so whatever. But she knew who she was getting, what she was getting into, right? And then for The Rock is on his second marriage too. And his first, he's the only person I've ever seen do it successfully, because he divorced his wife while he was in wrestling, or towards the end of wrestling, and then at least they had a child together, and he decided to make her his business partner, which is like, that's some genius level shit, because on one hand you could tell he still has some love for her, because everything that he does, she's right fucking there. But on the flip side to it is like, that still is your ex-wife. Whatever y'all couldn't work out, they didn't work out, and she's still around, and you guys, that's the mother of your first child and everything like that. But his new wife, same thing. She knows Dwayne. She doesn't know fucking.
Yeah, when you're with someone like that, I think a lot of the thing is on the partner themselves, because I'm sure when The Rock was with his first wife, it was like he was less busy, he probably wasn't traveling as much for wrestling and shit like that, and over time that shit just, people aren't built for that.
Right.
So it's just like, oh, I still like, there's still love there, but I can't do all this extra stuff to maintain it. So that's probably why they made him, like, he made her the business partner. Like, I still trust you, it's just can't be together. It doesn't work.
And of course, I believe she's like a lawyer too. She's like a very smart woman, but
it's the ones that come after, like when they're already busy as fuck, and if they're still like needy, like they need more attention. It's just like, no, like you knew what this was. Like you knew, like that I'm busy as fuck doing all this crap all the time.
See, because some people would say that would be selfish on that,
the partner,
like the partner's fault, or the partner, because just because you're Kevin Hart or The Rock or whatever doesn't mean that you have to basically tell your partner, like, no, you have to deal with this because it is what it is, right? So I don't know. All this shit is just, it's interesting because, like, even, like, for us on a way smaller scale, whatever, I've talked to my mother-in-law about this, and I've told her that, I want my kids to have the shit I didn't have, right? And then she pushes it to me, like, that's cool and all, but that don't matter if you're not there and you're not spending time with them. Like, you have all that stuff, like, and they have all that stuff, that's great. But if you're not there to properly raise them, then what does it mean? And like, there is a lot of truth to that. I can't sit there and be like, nah, fuck out here. Like, because, because I get it, but then I also realize that stuck with, what I talk about resonates so much with me because I went through it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's always going to stand out to me, and you went through similar shit, and you went through your shit. Like, so the things that shape us really do make us be like, all right, how am I going to be as a parent? How would I be juggling this type of shit or whatever? Because my mind's always focused on, like, hey, I tell my wife all the time, which sounds horrible, but I'm like, if I die, you're still good. Like, life insurance, all this shit, you're fine, you're great. And she's like, why do you talk about that? I know we
talk about it so much.
Like, and I'm like...
Me and her.
Yeah.
So
oh my God. When he dies.
So much.
But it's like, because I think about it, because I'm like, man, so many people in my life have died and, like, they didn't have shit when they left. Or they were in debt. Or it was like, it was fucked up.
My mom, like that, like... I remember when my mom went in the hospital, and my one brother was like, you need to help contribute. And I'm like, motherfucker, you guys don't have another family to raise.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, like, I wish I could help my mom, but I have a family that I have to support, and I ain't making my family suffer because of my mom's poor choices and and how she's ended up sick. I feel bad and all this, but no.
Right.
Like, and I don't think my mom would want me to make my kids suffer because of her choices of life.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. kids are fine without their. I'm fine. You know, like
see, that's what I'm going.
a little latchkey kid. Kind
As you start crying.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Your upbringing raised you to be like, I'm fine. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. How like, so for you, you're like, I don't see it as a problem. They'll be fine if you have kids and everything like that. That's what I'm saying. The flip side is me and Jason, we're like, oh no, we want to do this and that.
Yeah.
So it's also like across the board, it's gonna be different for everyone.
Yeah, because I see it as like you can be busy as fuck, but as long as when you're with them, like you're with them, you're not also working at the same time you're with them. I think it's fine, you know. And all they care about is like they probably want to work as hard as you, just try to show you like, hey, this is what I've been working hard as fuck on. Just show interest in that.
Right.
And that could be like for this is for like mogul types though. That's like I think enough balance for those kind of people, but. Like, okay, what about that? Like, would you guys would have a work-life balance, but just be average, or would you want to be like a mogul and like be one of the top ones? What would the choice be?
Me right now, because I'll be honest, like if someone goes, oh, hey, you can be CEO of this company making $1 billion a year, but you're gonna have to grind. I don't know. I'd have to really sit down with my kids and be like, yo, this is what can happen. But I don't know how long it would last because that's what kind of happened with my last job.
At what age are those conversations with your kids like possible?
Anything over 12, they'd have to be. Because I feel like now my kids are 6 and 8, and I don't think I could have a conversation like, hey, this is because they're just going to question like, but you're not going to be here. You're not going to be here. I don't feel like that they're... Maybe my daughter's starting to get to that age, but my son definitely not.
Right, but your daughter's smarter than the average.
Yeah.
8-year-old.
Yeah.
Right.
And for me, it would really... I would have to know, like, what is average costing... Or not costing me, but what is average giving me? So, like... In a sense, if average is like fucking... Average could be like, oh, okay, collectively we're making $100K a year. So fucking, I bring home $100K, and then, like, our family is like, okay, if we cash in on this right now, if it stays like this, I at least know that we can afford a house, we can afford this shit, that shit, blah, 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 right? But it could just stay right there. And it's like, I rolled my dice. I was comfortable with the fuck my fucking number was. I called it like, all right, I'm cool with this. Everything's taken care of. I'm fine. If it's that, I'd probably look at it right now and be like, okay. Like, because the unknown of rolling it, and then you're rolling and rolling and rolling, and then you look up and it's fucking, you're 36, and now shit is like, you know, fucking shit is kind of cloudy out here, and now you're like, fuck. Like, I did all this shit, and there was moments where the shit was like working and it was going in that direction, but then some other shit happened and it didn't. So now I'm still rolling, and there's still momentum towards it, but it still hasn't happened. You know what I mean? Like, I think everyone has to choose their whatever their fucking same thing like stocks. Like what the fuck is your out? What's your out? What's your number? Like, is your number can you be cool with fucking $100K a year? Can you be cool with that and be no complaints? Then get out there. But if you want to take it to, I want millions of dollars every fucking year and I want all this shit, then it's like, yeah, you have to do like you said, the mogul Jeff Bezos type shit where fucking it's to that level. And then even with him, I mean, it's been cliched now, but what, richest man in the world still got a divorce?
Yeah.
So his family didn't fuck with him, like, and he had everything. So, I don't know. I would, for me, it would be, what's that number? If it reaches that number, then I'm like, I'm cool with whatever the fuck we're at.
All right, I guess more of an average one would be, like, just like the average family. Like, okay, you're making enough to where, like, you don't have to worry about groceries. You still have to pay the monthly mortgage, all that shit. If you save up just enough, you can go on family vacations without it, like, destroying you, kind of shit.
Right.
So somewhere around there, right? Versus the mogul thing where you're just, like, you are the fucking person for whatever thing your passion was, you know, whatever. So around there. So it's not where you want it to be as far as, like, the balance thing is, but it's just, like, the average thing that you see all the time where they're not struggling, but, you know.
Well, for me, then I would say that I would roll it to the mogul thing, just because that what you described to me, I see issues in it. I see the issues of like, I don't want like, I mean that's a normal thing. I'm not saying this is bad, but when you think about like, oh, having to save money to do a vacation type thing, whatever, right? It's like I want it just to be like, oh, if we do a vacation, it's like it's good. I don't have to think about fucking, you know, oh, let me save this and that. Oh, a couple paychecks, like 3 months of paychecks, we should be fine. I don't want to have to do that, right? But like on the flip side, I know there's people who are going to hear this and be fine with that because they didn't grow up with much.
Right, so that would be like, that's awesome. That's
yeah,
great,
so that's because my, I feel like my sister has a lot. But if I look at it from like a person who has money, I'll be like, my sister, she's doing well.
Right.
But to me, I'm like, you have a house, you have a place in another fucking state, and like you have all this shit. Like that's dope to me, but like some, you know, whatever you grew up with, I think it really will shape you to what the fuck you want. Because there's people who grew up with a lot and they want even more. So I don't know.
I think it's passed down. Like if you're slacking as a parent and then your kid sees that, they're not going to have those ambitions, those goals. And we see it in the neighborhood. My own brothers, I have brothers that still live at home. And I know, like, some of them are there to help my stepdad since this, but there's some that are like, hey, I can't leave because this is what I'm accustomed to. And they're all in their 30s and 40s.
Right.
So it's like, I look at it as like, no, you are a piece of shit because you gave up and never wanted to go any further. And I don't feel like if he's happy, then that's on him and he could be happy. But I look at it as if you're going to be happy where you're at, you got to make sure you're not taking from other people to be happy. And that's where, like, if I'm content, like now, hey, if I have to save up for vacation a month or two, I'm okay with that. But do I want to do it? No. But see, with me, I get bored. I do something and I get bored, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, I want to be the best now.
Right.
And now I'm going to be the best. And then I get to that, and I work my ass off, and then I stop for a couple years. Like, all right, I'm good here. And then let me go higher after a few years because I'll get bored. Right. So that's my thing, is I have to figure out, I would be happy, but I'm going to get bored. And I can tell you that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fucking fantasy question, because unless we actually do become moguls or like those opportunities present themselves, it's like most of us are gonna end up in the average thing anyways.
Right. And that's what I'm saying, like, what is average to, because some situations there are people who have them, they think that's average. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? When we look at it like, no, that's actually, you're doing very well. Something we could have fucking brought up. I don't know if you guys saw, I sent it to you, but I don't know if I sent it to you, the kid who at the Jake Paul fight, there was the kid who he
quit his job.
Yeah, he quit his job.
Oh yeah, the 22-year-old that quit his 6-figure job,
$100K a year,
drove all the way to the fight, snuck in, and then asked Logan Paul, the older brother, for a job.
Right.
And he basically just got dissed.
Right, but it was funny just because, one, don't know what he expected to happen, but two, again, I looked at that video and I sent it to him because I was saying, like, I was just laughing and he was like, oh, why? Because white people were crying? And I was just like, yeah. But I looked at that video and the thing that stuck out the most to me was when they broke down $100K a year job, and he's like, he's doing fine. He's 22.
Yeah.
This is like a wet behind the ears. He hasn't really dealt with like a lot of life yet. He looked at these dudes as like, I want to be there. No real skills to do what they do, but I just want to be.
He said
there.
something like, I could dance.
Yeah, I did TikTok, and he was like, "What?" Yeah. But I just looked at that, and I thought about. I'm like, "See, what is average?" Because I guarantee this kid grew up with something. He had to. There's no way you look at that.
You're not 22 and have $100,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You went through school. You've done something right. Well, not you've done something right. Your parents have done something right to get you to where you're at. But I look at this way with that dude, like, we're clowning and like, oh, this dude's a clown, but how many followers did he get after this?
Oh, yeah.
He got a shitload. So he did his. He got his. So
It's just that
Sorry, real quick. Well, that situation right there, I'm really glad. As much as I hate the Paul brothers, I'm glad he said no.
Yeah.
Because if he said yes and he got the job there, you know how many fucking crazy ass people would all of a sudden start quitting their job and doing this shit?
Yeah.
It's crazy just to think about. He really thought it was going to work, and I think that's like the scariest thing about that. He really thought, oh, I'm going to be able to talk to this guy. He's going to give me a job because he's going to see my determination because I snuck into this whole event. And he was just like, I can't do anything that you're talking about. I can't help you do all this. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, and looking at that, to everyone out there who's listening to this, I hope you guys do really think about when in whatever you're doing, whether it's your job or your passion or whatever. Really answer that question. What is your like out? What is your what is that magical number that you have in your head? If you saw it on a check, you'd be like, all right, I'm done. I'm good. I can deal with this every month or whatever. Because I think so many people now, they don't have that. They have this like these grand thoughts. I'm just gonna every day is gonna be just money thrown at me, and because I'm this and that, and I'm like, it ain't like that. It's never been like that. For the people you see, it is like that. Those people work and they have teams and they have people that give them those like opportunities, and they have to perform to actually get them. Like, so everyone else, like you said, kind of is average after that. Like, besides fucking the top people, fucking, would you want to be what the fuck is his name? I can't think of it. I'll say someone random. Would you want to be Damon Wayans Jr. on fucking when he was on New Girl? It's like, are you funny? Yeah, but are you like the funniest person in your family? No, but do you have a steady job? You're acting. You're in a lot of shit. Can you be cool with that, or do you want to be Keenan, Damon, Marlon? Like,
it's the would you if you're an actor, would you want to play the same role in every movie that you get booked in or TV show? Or want to be like this? I want to play every kind of part and be great, or just okay, you're that person in every movie. That's fine.
Right, and like for him, I have no idea what he's doing now, but to use him as an example, it's like I would say he isn't as popular as his family members, but I would say that a lot of people probably, in time will tell, they'll probably grow to have more of a connection with him. Because I think he's choosing more of the like artistic, I want to do certain different things route. Yeah. And he's not following true into his family's footsteps. But also his father did the same shit. His father was like the top comic in the world and then kind of disappeared because he was like, it's not cool no more. Like, you know, so I don't know. This conversation took like a really...
it's just, I think we're all in deep thought about it, like really trying to figure out some kind of loophole to have both. Yeah. But it's just, you can't, because even if you're a mogul, like, I guess it's what type of mogul you are, because there's a point where you could just like leave it up to your team and your money starts working for itself and all that shit. And like, is that the most important thing, or is it more about? Like,
I wonder how many moguls have actually thought about like, man, if my life I would just have made that that cushion where I would have been okay. How my life would have been different. Yeah. Would I have been happier outside? I may be happier in the bank account, but am I happier in the heart and all that?
That's just crazy to think about. So many people out in the world, whatever their number for success is, it's probably crazy. Ranges different. People probably think that like our numbers that we make right now is successful.
Yeah, it's the fucking kid question. Is like, oh, how much money for you to suck a dick or something like that? Like 50,000, $1 million. Maybe for $1 million. Like, shit, you know.
But you ask some homeless person on the street, they'll be like $100.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Much, and it's just that 100 though. Means the world to them.
Getting some good crack with that 100.
Not every homeless person's on drugs. Stop.
Yes, they are. No. I'm gonna perpetuate the stereotype.
They're all on drugs. But yeah, good conversation.
Yeah, let us know if you can find a loophole for us to exploit when it comes to.
Or if you just want to give us money, and we can figure it out.
Yeah, you go to buy us a coffee. You go to Patreon. You give us money that way.
Figure it out. If we get 1 million people to give us each $1,
we'll be your social experiment.
Yeah.
If I
give
we can
these
do
guys
it this
money,
way,
a black man, a white man, and a Hispanic, we can figure it out. We'll let you videotape this.
3 total different lifestyles. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, we're real about it.
Going to gamble immediately. I don't even gamble,
You-
but I'm gonna develop a
but
habit.
that's what I already had down. That you would gamble.
Oh, we would be
You'd
so
shooting
boring
dice.
for that social media because all the money we have made from all this stuff that we've done, like the podcast and everything,
Use it,
we don't use it for anything. We've saved it all, and like we're still trying to figure out like what to spend the money
Should we
on.
spend it on this?
Yeah.
I'll put that shit all into crypto. Be like, fuck it. We'll see what happens. Solana, I'm up.
Yeah.
I'm not homeless, but I really want to get some crack. I'm not homeless. I really want to get some
I
crack.
just want to try it. I'm rich. I can do it
Why
now.
not?
You probably could, huh?
You could quit the.
That was a joke on Futurama when like someone like had a lot of money. He's like, I'm out of the crack house and going to the cocaine mansion. It's just fucking stupid.
If you had $1 million, you could be on crack. It'll probably take like $200K to get off of it.
$200K just to get off of crack.
Yeah, because crack is way different than cocaine. Like crack is like.
Yeah. Yeah. We know. We all.
I mean, y'all see. Look
We've
outside.
all tried it.
Look outside. Y'all see what's going on.
Gotta stop ending it on such a downer.
I
God,
know.
we're just.
All right, give us money.
Alright, you can find us at youtube.com/HowDoIKnow. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, friends, enemies, all alike. You can find us anywhere you listen to podcast. I made sure of it. And you can find all of us at a central location, hdIKY.com. You can find us, you can find who's on first, you can find Put 'em Up Duh, you can find new show coming soon. And our socials at HDIKY1, my personal ones at Mr. Lucky005.
And mine is Salinas Jason on Twitter and Jason Salinas with a Z on Instagram.
And DC Junior 13 on Twitter, DC Junior 113 on Instagram. But of course, like we always say, if I don't know,
And you don't know?
Who really knows?
how do I know you? Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.